So to tell you about myself, I am a chemistry major. I've taken so many classes in chemistry, and I started out back when I was in high school. I was an early college line student, meaning that I was a dual enrolled student. So starting my career, I knew I was gonna be in the healthcare profession somewhere, and then it was like a process of elimination of what I like and what I don't like that got me to apply to pharmacy school. So the first thing is that pharmacists are well trained people that are the connection point of all other health professionals. It is also the end point of every. It is also the end point of every medical or like health professional field. They end up coming to us, and we end up being the ones that give them the medications. So why I don't know how to answer the other question. What else? Why would okay, let's say why would I pick you? So I think the reason that you would pick me over other applicants is that I have strong leadership skills. I have ran a school organization. It was a health professional organization. I was also the founder of it. And fast forward, I became elected. They elected me, the students, as the president of the organization, and I held so many. It was an organization that had 52 individuals, and I would hold meetings. I would take the responsibility of the speakers. I would bring speakers in to speak to students as well. And also another reason is because I tend to be very self motivated. I self motivate myself to get the work done. I don't need motivation to come from the outside. Like if there's a task, I feel like it is a necessity to finish it before I go to sleep. Or I also have, for big projects, I'm really good at organizing my time and finishing big projects on a designated time. And also another aspect is that I am very well rounded. I know two languages and three, but two of which I'm proficient in or proficient at, which is the English language and also the Arabic language and somewhat the Turkish language. And I also have in the past served in community centers where I was a tutor for low income students, low income children, and I would do that for free. I would go, and because they are low income, I would understand the families. I would understand that their education might not come first, but I would be there to in just in case they have questions or things like that. And it was in a community service of low income families, and I was very happy to be there and to help people. And fast forward in the future, I'm planning to do something to help individuals of low income families. I don't know how exactly, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up doing something like that. That was so well said. Yeah, don't be scared to stutter or anything like that. Let me see what else. Why pharmacy? Pharmacy because it is the only healthcare profession that doesn't require us to be so involved with the patients. Although, and pharmacy in general because we're the only healthcare. They are the only healthcare providers that are open to see patients without any appointment to be set up. They're very more humbled per se, and there's no appointment set up or anything like that. You just see them face to face and ask them any questions you have without. It's just the only health professional that is available like that. Um, um, what else? What do you like most about our school? I like the research programs. I also like the fact that you are a very small campus. I like the fact, first of all, that you are a very small campus. There is a very good student to teacher ratio where students are given attention whenever they need help. I've been in large classes, and some students that were in my company, or some students that were with me in that same class, they were not able to pass because there was not like enough attention given to them. And I feel like if it was a smaller class, they might have passed with better grades. As for me, I am capable of passing large classes like that and getting good to legitimate grades. But I feel like with professional or like specific attention, I'm able to do a lot better. I'm able to do a lot more. And I feel any student needs that attention in order to prosper in their career in the future. What else? Distinct, Shamis, between beauty and the capability of speaking. So I can look super shitty and I can still be able to speak beautifully and strongly. Make that distinction. Looking good has nothing to do with speaking good. Some good looking people don't know how to speak, and some bad looking people know very much how to speak. Just remember that. I don't know where the fuck are my parents. Like, أنا أحمد كل كلمة تقولها ليا، والكلمة دي عشان أنا تظهرها بيا. بالموت عليا. Yeah, so yeah, just remember that it has nothing to do with it, and remember that I look great. Like, act as if I look great. And something else is that take my time when I speak. Let me see what else. What I like about our college. Tell me about yourself. Why are you a good candidate? So why am I a good candidate is because I have a lot of leadership positions. I have also have led so many events and I would take care of the speakers. People would come in. I would take responsibility of the entire event. I was the president of the organization. It was a healthcare professional organization. It started out as all the healthcare, like all the pre-med, pre-dent, pre-farm. It started out like that, and then it got divided into subdivisions because other students came and took the responsibility for these little subdivisions. And I ended up, yeah, and another thing about me is that I was a dual enrolled student, and it took me a while to actually decide my career. And I actually, and this is not a quick choice. This has been thought through. This has been thought through multiple times. So I know that I want to do pharmacy for sure. That's why I would be a better candidate than someone that's not very sure about their field or their profession. So I'm a sure I am a student who is who has determined that pharmacy is the correct profession for me. And also speak slower. I feel like I need to speak slower. And what else? So yeah, this is well thought. I'm a dual enrolled student. I have been a dual enrolled student, and that helped me. That gave me the time to actually choose my career. So like right out of high school, people don't really know what they want to do. I actually took the time. I actually went to college when I was at 16 years old. I started taking dual enrolled. I started being a dual enrolled student, and that just gave me the time to explore everything at an early age. And I actually decided, and that helped me decide what profession I'd like to end up with in the future. So starting out early in college just helped me decide that this is the profession that I want to do. This is crazy. The sounds are ridiculous. What else? Interview questions. I have to look up interview questions. Um, 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 um. There it is. Interview questions. I cannot believe I'm doing pharmacy. That's a lot better than a lot of other doctors that I've ever seen. أنا تحت رحمة كل كلمة تقولها ليا، والكلمة دي أنا مستخسرها فيا. What the fuck is that? And I practice pharmacy school interview questions. I'm looking for questions, and this is. Why do you want to become? Are there any? So are there doctors or pharmacists? So there are doctors, but there aren't pharmacists. So it says the question here: pharmacy studies are extremely hard and time demanding. Are you ready to handle that? What are you willing to sacrifice? So I understand before actually applying to the program that it is time demanding and it is also this is a hard field. But however, when I entered the field, I entered with passion, and also there's a lot of things that I have sacrificed. I just can't talk with I don't know, looking at myself in the mirror. It's just weird. But I think I need to look into myself in the mirror as I speak. So I am willing to sacrifice absolutely my time. I'm also willing to sacrifice everything that interferes with my studies when I'm actually studying to become a pharmacist. So first of all, I won't be living with parents, even though this is something I completely prioritize. And second of all, that's gonna, of course, eliminate a lot of distractions and things like that. But that's I call a sacrifice. And also, I am willing to sacrifice my entire time, as long as each class, whatever each class needs, the time that each class needs, I'm willing to give each and every class their fair share in my studies. And yeah, I'm willing to do everything that I'm willing to do. I'm willing to do everything that I can to do in order to prosper and to succeed in those classes. Except for studying, what do you plan to do while being in college? Um, so what I'm willing to do while I am in college is um, get a work study, maybe. Besides that, I'm willing to dedicate all that time for studying and for tutoring and for things like that, because usually that's what I end up doing. Usually I just work in the summers, but I might do that besides studying. Yeah, I'm also willing to take parts in events. I'm also willing to volunteer, things like that that would add to my professional resume. Do you watch trends? Pharmacy studies are extremely. Are there any doctors or pharmacists in your family? So, yes, there are doctors in my family. There are veterinarians. There are medical doctors. However, the reason I chose pharmacy was not of any influence or any kind of recommendation from them or anything like that. I just picked that profession because of the qualities I believe it has over a medical doctor. For example, the um, the amount of the amount of availability they have for patients, the amount of knowledge they have in their careers, yeah. What motivated me to make this career choice? First of all, I gotta know what the fucking pharmacists do. Why do I want to become a pharmacist? Or what I want to become a pharmacist, I gotta know what the fuck they fucking do. This is a really good website. This is a very good website. Um, Tell me about yourself. Okay, fuck that. So, what experience have I had in retail or clinical settings? So, in clinical settings, I've shadowed many doctors. I've shadowed a couple of pharmacists, and that is about all the clinical. And I shadowed at a community farm, like I stood there and just watched what they do at a clinical pharmacy, and yeah, and as in retail, I haven't sold anything, but I work at a gym, and we end up selling some stuff. So that's like if they ask for basketballs or things like that, we sell things like that. But I don't think like I worked particularly in like retail. I don't know if that's considered retail. So what would be the biggest challenge for me? I think in pharmacy school, the biggest challenge for me would be living away from home because honestly, I never thought I would be living away from home. However, because the program was very unique and the program was very is very rich and filled with opportunities. That's why I'm coming here. But I think that would be the biggest challenge. So in terms of working in teams, I have I was not this year, but in the years that I was a student at Eastern, or like a year ago, or like last year, the year that just passed. So the year that just, for example, usually the role that I take. So the question is this, Shemis. Tell me about an experience you've had working in a team. What role do you tend to play when working on a team? So working on teams, I usually take the lead. Not that I want to take the lead, but I find it to be the easier position to be because usually people are hesitant to take the lead, and when I take the lead, things will go the way that everybody usually wants because I tend to take everybody's opinion into consideration. So I also worked, I was as an extracurricular activity, the president of the pre-med, pre-dent, pre-farm organization. And I had a treasurer, a vice president, and a secretary. And I would set up the events. I would take responsibility of bringing guest speakers. Some of the students would contribute as well, bringing guest speakers in, making the event happen. Our jobs are basically divided in a way that would make the event happen. If I were to do all the work, then the event wouldn't take place because somebody got to reserve the room, somebody got to take the attendance, somebody got to take the email, somebody got to email the speaker. All this happens because of our teamwork. I feel I believe without the teamwork, we would not have accomplished any of our events. And our events were extremely successful, where people would come, head of departments would come and attend, like the head of the department, heads of departments, and faculty would attend the events and would listen to other people speak. And yeah, all that and about was, 50 people sometimes would attend. It would have really good attendance. And this is going off on a rant, okay? So usually in a group, I usually take the lead because I feel like it is the most comfortable. I think it's just the way, not that I want to be, but I feel this is because it makes everything go easier. But I don't mind, working with someone, but usually whenever some people are like hesitant, whenever we're placed in a group, I usually take the role of distributing tasks and things like that, because I feel a lot of people don't want to do that. I mean, I don't have a problem with anybody taking that role because it's honestly a lot less work for me. However, I feel, and others as well feel very comfortable putting me as in that position, because I tend to be I listen to what they want and end up with something with everybody's contribution in it. So, and also I have been last year, for example, I was the president of the pre-med, pre-farm, pre-dent organization. And all of us would contribute in order to bring guest speakers in. We would contribute and work together. Each has a specific task to accomplish. And because all these tasks were done on time, we would have successful events happen. And I believe working together is an extremely important skill to have as a human, not only as in the professional field. How do I deal with stress? So I deal with stress by facing it. So let's say I have an exam. Instead of going and doing something else, I would actually focus on the task at hand. That would make me a lot less stressed. Like, let's say I have an exam, I would focus on the material, be a little bit more comfortable with the material, then do something else. Like, for example, go to the gym. But I have to have a good grasp of the material before I head to the gym. That way I wouldn't be in the gym stressed out. That would be how I would handle stress. Physical activity and actually facing the problem. What has been the most rewarding experience I had when working with others? Very, very good question. So it is very rewarding when I see what I have worked for come, and I would see it, for example, in the events that I have made. Whenever I see the guest speaker coming in and I see a large attendance size and I see many students happy and I see so many students coming up to me and personally thanking me for making the events and getting all these helpful speakers to come, I feel on the inside that I have made an accomplishment of making something work, helping the community, helping people who like answering people's questions, things like that, and going actually, like when I was the president of the pre-dental and the pre-farm organization, it was on a volunteer basis, and I would actually be happy to see students have their questions answered. And I feel like that's the biggest accomplishment, and that would tie back, I have to take breaths in. That would tie back to being a pharmacist. It's where people come and ask you questions and you would answer the questions, and if you don't have the answer to these questions, you would go above and beyond to answer those questions for them, and not be like, whenever you don't know the answer to something, you would just say I don't know, but rather actually just going through and doing the best at answering those patients' questions. What do you think is the most pressuring issue in healthcare today? Pressing issue? Would you plan to become a pharmacist change if the US moved to universal healthcare system similar to Canada? A pharmacist change? What the fuck is that? When was a time where you had to step up and become a leader? When was the time that I had to step up and become a leader? Um, we had a project. We had to dissect. I think we had to dissect a frog. I took anatomy and physiology, and we had to dissect a frog, and we had to dissect three organisms: a frog, a worm, and something else. And there was like a bunch of people that were just didn't know what to do. Some of them were working on their own, although we had to work in a group. So instead of doing, although the teacher said you can either work in groups or you can work by yourself, however, just in order to make the whole, and we had like an hour and a half or something like that. It wasn't like we had 6 hours to do all of that. So I believe the teacher wanted to see who would step up and make groups. So I was the first one to say, how about we all work together? You do this, you do that, I'll do this. And then we would come together and show the professor what we have. And honestly, that was the best thing that I've ever done, because the professor gave me and gave the entire group extra credits for actually joining together and making that combination and making that work happen. So that's what I tend to do, is whenever there is an opportunity to work in groups, I would definitely want to work in groups, because that way we finish the work together, and in questions or whenever there are a project or a paper, we can contribute each other's thoughts within that same paper. That way it is multiple brains instead of one brain making that conclusion, which tends to yield more or better conclusions. Medicare and Medicaid. Oh shit, I need to know that. What was my favorite class and why? My favorite class was definitely biochemistry, because it was a connection between biology and chemistry. How do I spend my free time? I spend my free time reading. I don't have to see the truth. I spend my free time reading, usually reading about how to make your health better or things like that, how to improve your health. And also read whatever is happening in the news and stuff like that, just to stay updated with what's happening around me. My strengths are is that I am willing to do whatever it takes to accomplish something that I want. And also my strengths is that I have good leadership skills. My strengths is that I have good public speaking skills. I am I'm very empathetic. I feel like my strengths are that I am very, what did I say? I'm very, let me see, I have to find shit like that. I have to answer this shit, not answer it right now.